Alright, hello, welcome to this weather update. It is after midnight on February 12th, 2019, and we are taking a look at the radar of the storm that is approaching our area. And you can see it looks like there is some snow falling over New Jersey just to our southwest, but you can see it's kind of hitting a brick wall, and that is that high pressure system that is over us. But that will give way, and this will move into our area. And if we go to the National Weather Service website, you will see that we have a winter weather advisory now in effect for our entire area. And up north and west, you get the winter storm warning. So let's look at the latest briefing for the storm from the National Weather Service. And this was at 6 p.m. February 11th. So the winter weather advisories have been expanded to all Long Island, and the winter storm watches have been upgraded to warnings. Right, so inland they're going to have 4 to 8 inches, but we're just going to focus on Long Island right now. So we could have snow and sleet 2 to 5 inches, depending on where you are. Obviously, if you're on the North Shore, in Lower Hudson Valley, it'll be higher, and if you're on the South Shore, it'll be lower. Snow and sleet Tuesday morning into Tuesday afternoon, transition over to freezing rain in the late afternoon, early evening, and then a gradual transition to plain rain from south to north Tuesday evening into Tuesday night. Alright? Ice risks probably not too significant over our area. The greatest impacts for our area will be just the slush. So, but we do have risks for ice. We do have risks for heavy rain. We do have risks for snowfall. Alright? Their snowfall map has Farmingdale getting 2 inches, JFK getting 3 inches. And that could probably be more of like a combination of snow and sleet at this point. So there's still some uncertainties going on here, and then we get the heavy rain afterwards, and there's going to be heavy rain when we get to the models. We're going to look at that. So I wanted to do another weather update to show you the latest models, and I'm not going to even use the GFS at this point. We'll use the NAM, and we'll go over and look at what the NAM has. And the NAMS definitely does not look. It seems like it's missing the snow that's currently occurring over here, so it seems like it's a little underdone, which is unusual for the NAM, nonetheless. And the NAM, yeah, NAM doesn't really even have much snow happening. It brings us right over to sleet for a while. We're going to be having a lot of sleet, perhaps, through the afternoon, through the late morning into the early afternoon, and then it transitions over to rain. And then that rain looks like there's a line that moves through right around midnight. It's about 24 hours from now. It looks like a little squall line there developing again. Very unusual for February, but again, this is what we're getting. And if we go and we look at the total snowfall, we'll go and look at that on the NAM, and we'll see how that has. Now, the NAM is definitely higher on the total snowfall. Well, this includes sleet. So this is the snowfall plus sleet fall. So it has 5 inches of snow and sleet over Long Island before transitioning over to rain. I think it might be a little on the high side, personally. But and again, there have been times that the NAM has been right. So we have to keep an eye on that. And then we'll look at the liquid equivalent. So we'll look at the total accumulated precip, because there's going to be a lot of, we're going to get between 1 and 2 inches of liquid equivalent from this. So that is the NAM. We'll go ahead and look at the HRRR. So the next one we will look at and see how that goes. So the total, now this again only goes out about 18 hours, the HRRR. Alright, so it doesn't go out far enough to give us the total rainfall, but it should be enough to give us the total snowfall. And yeah, this is more in line when I'm thinking just a few inches of snow, just because that changeover happens awfully quick. Let's take a look and see how this has the radar model, because the NAM didn't seem to be too accurate. So let's see how this one looks. Yeah, this one looks a little more accurate. It has that snow that's over here right now. If you look at that and you match it up with the radar, you see it's more similar. So the NAM is definitely a little off, in my opinion, with this in this regard. So this again has doesn't really have the snow starting until the morning hours. Unfortunately, it's going to be falling during the rush hour, and that's going to be hard. And it could come down heavy right at the changeover when it starts mixing with sleet. You could get those big flakes, and then it changes to it's going to be sleeting for a while here. You can actually see it's got some freezing rain in here too as well. So there could be a very unpleasant mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain for a period in the afternoon, and that's going to make things just very slippery and messy. And then that rain, it gets in here by later in the afternoon, in the evening hours. Alright, that is the HRRR, and we will go and look at the HDRPS next and see how that handles the storm. So you can see here, let's see how let's back it up. See, it doesn't really look like what's occurring right now. And again, I think this is going to be off again. So does develop a lot of heavy rain over us tomorrow. So there's a lot of little variables that the models pick up. The models have. Let's see how much snow this gives us. Let's see, total snowfall on this one is only an inch or two. So the NAM seems to be a little on the high side with the snowfall, and I'm in agreement with that right now. Let's see the total accumulated precip on that. Yeah, it's gonna be between 1 and 2 inches, so that's generally a given. The question is, where's the heaviest precipitation fall? Does it fall as the rain later? Does it fall as sleet? That is a to be determined thing. We may just have to wait until the storm starts, really, to get a certainty as to what's going to happen. Let's take a look at the RGEM. Let's take a look at that one. Alright, so RGEM gives us, again, similar amounts for the total accumulated precip. Let's see what it has for the snowfall. Again, generally no more than 3 inches across Long Island. This again would include the sleet, and that would fall. So let's take a look at its radar's reflections. Let's see how that looks. How does that line up right now? This is important to take a look and see how it's lining up. See, this again, this looks fairly close to what's being presented on the radar here. All right, so the NAM doesn't look anything like that. All right, because I think the NAM is overestimating the strength of the high. And the stronger the high, the more it lags the changeover. So that's why I'm thinking that this is more of a type of solution we're going to have. So again, we do have the snow that'll be coming down in the morning, and like I said, it looks like it does get heavy right at that changeover there. Changes over to sleet for a little bit, and then to rain, and this also brings in the heavier rain for the overnight. So I'm thinking right now we're going to have most of this, I would say 60 to 70% of the precipitation that will fall in this event from most of Long Island will be in the form of rain. But that could always change. So that is what the RGEM looks like. And so we'll go back to the GFS again. And we'll just look at the GFS again. Even though I don't really like using it, we will look at it again. And you can see it also looks kind of similar to what we have on the radar right now. So I'm thinking the NAM is going to be wrong on this. It's a little too high on the snowfall, and this is going to be more of an accurate scenario. So again, we go. The GFS just has a. I think there's going to be more sleet than the GFS shows, but than that, we will be raining by. I would say by 5 p.m., 4 p.m. It'll be rain over our area, and then that rain could get heavy in the overnight hours. And we'll look at the GFS and see what the total rainfall is there. Total accumulated precipitation. And yeah, it's definitely in that 1 to 2 inch range. There is a little more of a batch over here to the west, like northwest New Jersey here, that could be over 2 inches. But this is all very variable, very variable. Let's see total snowfall. Yeah, it doesn't give us much. It gives us a couple inches at most, and I really don't think we're going to see that much snow, but it's going to be enough to make things messy and slippery, and that's why it is a winter weather advisory in effect. This is why you got to be careful. Relax your time when you're traveling, take it slow. You know the deal with that. So there's just one other thing I do want to just bring up. Some of these stories here that popped up on the Wonderground site, calling this Winter Storm Maya. But there was two other storms here. Hawaii was hammered by a mammoth like low pressure system, not an extratropical low, not a tropical storm. And then the same storm, the similar storms are going into Seattle, and then they're putting a lot of snow in. 60 inches of snow in 24 hours in parts of Washington. That's crazy. And then also these moisture rivers that are coming up. This is what we're getting now, and you get these. They call these pineapple expresses. You get these when you have an El Nino. But there's one other thing that I do want to bring up, and that is the polar bears invading this Russia town. I'm not going to read the articles to you, but you can just Google it. Invasion of starving polar bears. I'll click on this because this is important. This again talks about the climate emergency that we are undergoing in the Arctic, and this is why the polar bears are in here. So the polar bears have invaded this town because the sea ice that they hunt seals on is not there, and here it says polar bears typically born on land but live mostly on sea ice. But as the Arctic ice thins, an occurrence linked to the acceleration of climate change, the animals move ashore, and they are ravenous, and they come into contact with humans as a result of this. So, and of course, they could be killed if they, which is terrible. We're the ones that caused this problem, and something needs to be done. It's a climate emergency, and again, I'm going to talk about this a lot. I'm sorry if you're sick of hearing about it, but this is a climate emergency. The world is descending into chaos, and nowhere is more affected by climate change than in the Arctic. This is where they're getting affected the most. And this is what happens when you take away the sea ice that the polar bears hunt on. They come into towns because they are literally starving and need to eat, otherwise they're going to die. All right, and these are endangered species, by the way. So, again, climate emergency. Let's make that the priority here, right? All these corporate Democrats out there, Cuomo, Schumer, they don't care about this. They won't support mass transit. They won't support the changes that are needed to stave off disaster right now, because we are on the cusp of a major worldwide disaster, and there are only two things that can save us at this point. We wake up, or we have some divine intervention, and a major volcano erupts and can cool the planet down that way, like Mount Pinatubo did. But right now, climate emergency, I do urge you to read this article. I'll provide the link. This is what we have when we have climate change. So if you don't believe in climate change, read the article and enlighten yourself, because climate change and global warming are very real. And I'm sorry if you want to deny it. You're just ignorant. That's all. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this weather update. I won't bring this up in the next one, I promise. We'll talk about the storm as it gets started when I do the next weather update later. Bye.